First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, as we do every weekday, starting around 1 p.m., going throughout the afternoon. And we cover a wide range of topics on this show. But I got to say, there is a lot that is going to be packed into this one segment we are doing right now. So as you can see there on your screen, the Speed Project, LA to Vegas. We're talking about a running competition, an actual run through the desert from LA to Vegas that happens. It's an unofficial run, and there were 6 runners from Portland who actually took place in this year's event, or the most recent event, and there's a documentary on top of that that is going to be coming out that you can see at the Tomorrow Theater that showcases and follows along with this. That's a lot I just threw out. You know what? We need to bring on our experts because they are the ones who can tell us everything that's going on right there. We've got Peter Hogan, one of the runners who is in this. We've got Matt Parker, the filmmaker. Thank you to both of you for joining us here today. I really appreciate you guys having time to talk about this. And as I said, there's so much happening here in just this story. But to start off, could you let everybody know, and I don't know who wants to go first, but what the Speed Project is, what exactly this run is?
Yeah, so the Speed Project is an unsanctioned race that covers anywhere from 300 to 340 miles. Starts at the Santa Monica Pier, 4 a.m. on a Thursday, and you get to LA or you get to Vegas as fast as you can. Our team had 6 runners. That's in the OG division, which is sort of the competitive division, and then but other teams can have up to 15 or 16 runners in the freestyle division. So our team set out to go win this thing.
So being unsanctioned, are there really a lot of rules that go into this as far as, is it a relay, or you can just run as fast, or are you all running at the same time? Not quite sure how that part works.
So there's no rules. That's kind of the motto of this event, the
Gotcha.
Speed Project. There's no rules. There's no spectators, meaning everyone, kind of has to participate in some way. Although there is one rule that you can't run on the highway, and that's mostly for safety. But aside from that, you got to make your own route. You've got to navigate the desert by foot, and you've got a support crew following with cars, kind of making sure you stay on track. And Peter was one of those runners who would hop in and out, tagging in and out as a relay throughout it.
Wow. So this is straight up across the country. It's not necessarily running through town to town, or not on the highway, but on streets. At points, are you actually running through the desert?
Yeah, I think the best way to think about it, right, when you get outside of LA, is it almost looks like a scene out of Mad Max, right?
Yeah.
There's this caravan of cars kind of following you in some parts, but for the most part, it's adjacent to the Sahara Desert. So where you're going, it's these dusty, dirty roads, and not a lot of wildlife or too much things going on around you. So the best way I can think about it, especially in going back and looking at some photos, is it's a scene out of Mad Max.
That, I'm seeing some of the photos too. That is an accurate description there. Well, Peter, let me ask you this. From just an outside perspective, look at this, and I've participated in some relay runs like Hood to Coast, things like that. This seems slightly insane to want to do this, and that's not what I'm saying that you are, but what is it that drove you to want to be a part of this?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It is slightly insane, and I question myself the days going into it of like, hey, why? One, how did I get coerced into doing this? And 2, why did I agree to it? But yeah, I think the big thing about it, right, it's similar to what Matt was saying. It's really what you make of it. A lot of people on the team that we ran with, we all ran in college. And I think one of the fun parts about running is you never really retire, right? If you want to make a career out of it after college, there's marathons where you can be running with the best runners in the world, down to, hey, I'm just trying to qualify for this marathon, or I'm raising money for charity. But one aspect that I think running doesn't really have post-collegiately is the team aspect. And that's really what drew me into it was, hey, I'm going to be able to do this not only with my best friends, but their success is my success and my failures are their failures. And really being able to rely on other folks in that running atmosphere, something that aligns closely to my heart, is something that I was really interested in. And then 2, there's the big challenge of, man, this is going to be a large volume of miles that I'm going to be putting on my legs, and just given the time period in which you have to do it, made it a challenge that I've never had before as a runner. So I think the combination of just the the scope of it, but also the team aspect was something that really drew me in. And I think it's really the question of like, hey, can we do this? That's where the crazy part starts to come in of like, okay, like this is just a massive challenge that none of us has ever experienced before.
Yeah, I mean, I would think just the challenges of any kind of a run this distance are certainly there, but running through the desert, and as you mentioned, I mean, even without the cars, it looks like Mad Max out there. And I would imagine, staying hydrated, I would think, would just be one of the biggest major challenges. But what were some of those big issues with running through an environment like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the head, right? I think that's one of the challenges when I first signed up for this. It's not something that initially triggers in your mind when you do this. All of the logistical challenges that go into it of, hey, if we run out of food, where are we going to get food during the middle of this? We're in the middle of the desert. But when you're in it, I think the big challenges are, one, to your point, right, we'd go out in these 5-mile segments, immediately coming back, and during the middle of the day, like, all right, we have to cool down really quickly, really efficiently, because in 2 hours I'm going to be back outside running in the heat or during the nighttime. So that's the big thing, like getting that fuel intake going. I had a lot of Uncrustables. I don't know if I want to have another Uncrustable in my life. To your point, fluids is a huge thing. So you can never have enough fluids. That was something that we were always you have to be mindful about it, of just continually like making sure you're getting enough water, getting enough electrolytes in, really just being really purposeful in that sense. But then the other thing I think you have to be mindful, right, is it almost feels like we were out there for 30 hours and it feels like you're almost running 30 hours straight, right? Because if you're not running, you're preparing for the next 2 hours of, okay, I have to be back out there. So your mind's on it the whole time. So not only being conscious of what you're putting into your body, but really the dichotomy of like trying to push because we want to go and win this race, we want to be competitive with it, but also holding back a little bit, knowing like, hey, it's a long road to the finish line in Vegas. So really just trying to have that push and pull in your mind of not making sure you're not going too hard so you don't run out of gas towards the end.
Right, sprint it all out in the first leg and then don't have anything left at the end. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, how many hours did it take you to do this?
Matt, I don't know if you know the time.
29 hours and 7 minutes. And the previous record was 29:21, I believe. But we ended up finishing third overall. So we beat the record, but didn't win the race in the end.
That's still a pretty incredible achievement. And let's talk about this documentary, this film for this. Can you tell me, what was the inspiration, I guess, for getting this started, and just let everybody know about it?
Yeah, so our team, the Portland Bureau of Runners, is really that we're not an official club or anything, but we're just a group of friends that all come from this running background. We all competed in college in some way or another and found each other in Portland and bonded over running. So we wanted to go pursue this race. It's pretty hard to get in. It's not really publicly available. There's no website, so you got to know someone, and we had a connection, submitted our team sort of on the idea that we like to race hard and have fun, and we don't think you have to pick one or the other. So that's really what the film's about, is being able to do hard things with your friends, challenge yourself physically, but also celebrate afterwards. And right now, running is experiencing a bit of a boom culturally. There's all these running clubs all over the country. And it seems like you either have to be super serious training to like qualify for the Olympic trials in the marathon, or you just do it for the beer that you get to have after the 3-mile run. And we think there's a middle ground somewhere in there where you can take it seriously and have fun. And so that's what our team was all about.
And you can still have a beer at the end, but yeah,
exactly.
A little bit of both. I mean, it ends in Vegas. You gotta,
yeah,
it's not probably just let's go to bed, once we get here kind of thing. But I mean, looking at the documentary too, and I've got a trailer here. I'll pull this up just while we're talking about this. But it's just really pretty incredible. Okay, of course now that's happening. I'm going to pull this up so we can watch this here with you. But talking about the process, what were some of the biggest challenges that you had in filming this?
Yeah, so like Pete said, there's a lot of logistics to running the race. The car, you've got to be able to drop runners off ahead of the next runner so that you can do handoffs and stuff like that. Some place might be, you can run it, but it doesn't mean you can drive it. So for our film crew, it was the same thing of, how do we get from place to place, find all these angles in really the middle of nowhere. I mean, you've got these power line roads that you see here that we were running on, but it's a lot of navigating, maps and GPS data. Luckily, I'd been involved as a photographer in the event before, so I was a bit familiar with the territory. But thankfully, they're all friends of mine and we're really close. And so they were super comfortable with us pointing cameras at them on their high moments and their low moments. And it was just a really fun experience across the board.
I mean, it does look like it would be a lot of fun. It also looks like, all these challenges that you're mentioning. Once this is out now, and I want to let everybody know too that they can go actually see this. But I mean, now that you're both, even though you're a part of it, but seeing it actually on screen when you saw the finished product for the first time, when you actually completed it and sat back and watched it, what did it feel like looking at what you both accomplished doing this?
Peter hasn't actually seen the film yet, so he has yet to experience that. Not all of our team has seen it, but for myself, I'm very happy with it. I think it's a really fun behind the scenes way for the audience to kind of get a sense of what it's like running this race, and the chaos that can bring. We're really excited to share it with the Portland community here at the Tomorrow Theater. And thankfully, Pabst has made it free. Pabst was a generous sponsor of our team. And so they've made a free screening available, and we're going to have an after party just like we did for the race.
Nice. And that's at the Tomorrow Theater, and that is on Thursday, May 22nd, correct?
Yes, I believe doors open at 6:30 and the screening starts at 7, followed by a Q&A with the team.
Nice. And the Tomorrow Theater is a fantastic place, too. That's a great venue that they've created right there. So that's an opportunity for people to go see this. Well, let me ask you this. Would you do it again?
Peter?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that, Greg. I remember we were asked that immediately after finishing, right? We all had 50 plus miles on our legs in the last 29 hours. And everybody was like, oh, I don't know, let me get through this. Let me enjoy this before going back and thinking about running another 50 miles. But the farther away I get from it, the more enticing it is to come back. Like right now, I would definitely do it again, just because it is one of those things that it's such a unique experience in terms of, right, again, going back to that team aspect, but also just the event itself. Like how many races is it just point to point, get there however you want and figure it out. So the farther away you get from it, the more it lures you in to want to come back the next year. So the short answer, yeah, definitely would want to come back and run it again.
We're competitive.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you have to
still got to win. Yeah.
you have to be to want to do this. Well, and I know that you, from what I heard, you're all going to be reuniting as well. I don't know if you're all reuniting at the film, but also there's going to be another thing happening later on this summer, if you could let us know about.
Yeah, so we've got the film premiere with the whole team and crew, and then our sponsor Pabst also puts on a music festival here in Portland called Project Pabst. I believe it's in late July, and we're going to be organizing some group runs, maybe a 5K, get people moving with a beer in hand probably before they go listen to some Devo, Death Cab for Cutie, and Iggy Pop.
Nice. That's all a great combo, perfect for summer in Portland as well. And Project Pabst is a lot of fun and great lineup there for that. So for you guys, I mean, thank you both for joining us. What is the one piece of advice you would give someone out there who maybe would like to do something like this, maybe isn't quite to the level yet, but is interested in running and getting out there and trying these new things? What would your piece of advice be for them?
Peter?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, for me, is like find a friend, do it with a friend, get a community around it. I think, again, like I've brought it up a few times now, where that was something I was really craving, and I found right with our running group and doing this as a team. But I think, right, whether you're trying to get into running as an individual or you're trying to do something similar that we did, things are always easier when you do it with a friend, when you do it with the communities. And I think that's what we're trying to push, especially with that community run that we're doing. So that's the one suggestion I have. Makes it easier to get out the door, makes it a little bit more enjoyable during the process of getting in shape with running. So that's the one recommendation I would definitely bring to people.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think just have fun with it. You know, we all came from pretty competitive backgrounds, so it's nice to come into something that doesn't have much of a measuring stick to compare it to. You're just gonna go out there and run with your friends.
Yeah, and then have a beer when you're done. Well,
Absolutely.
Matt, Peter, thank you very much to both of you for joining here. And for people who want more information about the film, about the group, anything that you think, what's the best place for them to go?
Tomorrow Theater's website, I believe, tomorrowtheater.org.com. All the screening info is going to be there. Yeah.
And will there be opportunities to see it beyond that? Will this be out?
It should be on YouTube on the channel called Make Running, from the event organizers. It'll be up hopefully Friday, I believe.
Okay. All right. So an opportunity, though, to go out to see it in person with everybody, and then another chance to watch it later on. Well, thank you to both of you for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
And for everybody watching, again, this is Fox 12 Now. We cover a wide range of topics here on this show, so thanks for joining us. We are live here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, and I do mean live. That's the newsroom behind me. You see the people walking around. That's actually what's going on right there, and you can probably still see those guys, too, on my screen behind me. But we're going to take a break. We will be back here shortly. We've got lots coming up this afternoon. I'll talk to you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.